Hi everyone, I'm Natalie and I'm going to jump straight into what we want the students to learn during this science unit. I've broken down three main goals using Green's 3D model. The operational goal is students will accurately define and use key terminology such as liquid, solid and state. The cultural goal is that students will carry out practical investigations by adding and removing heat to various solids and liquids and recording their findings. And lastly, the critical goal, students will apply their understanding through comparing their results with their peers and developing informational reports and procedural texts. Now, how are we going to teach this? Using the 5E model and with the TLC in mind, I will detail now the steps that should be taken to address these literacy demands. The engage phase. Students will be engaging with a range of relevant multimodal texts. They want to be becoming familiar with the vocabulary and the text genres. Both the TLC and Mazzano's six-step process begin with explicit instruction. We want to be describing, explaining, and actually giving examples of the terminology to set students up for success in this unit. Incorporating pictures, games, and kinesthetic connections will assist the students further as they understand the meaning behind words such as explore and can then apply it not just in science but in subjects such as English and humanities. The explore phase. This is when students will carry out some hands-on experiments for themselves. This allows them to make their own meaning and discover for themselves what actually happens when adding and removing heat to liquids and solids. Water to ice and vice versa is a good one to start with. It will also allow students to engage with procedural texts and assist them in developing the cultural goal for the unit. The explain phase. Using the recordings, experiences and observations during these experiments, we want students to develop scientific explanations. Again, using the correct terminology to explain the reasoning behind what they've seen or what the results were. This stage is a critical stepping stone to our critical goal. The elaborate phase. In order for students to develop a deeper understanding, they need to discuss and compare their results and ideas with peers, whether this be as a whole class discussion or students moving around the room communicating with each other. Now, if students are needing further assistance when constructing their texts, the curriculum cycle is a fantastic resource incorporating activities that involve modelling and deconstruction, where students can sort and sequence texts or participate in joint construction. And lastly, the evaluate phase. Personal reflection is incredibly important. It allows the students to reflect on their learning journey, what was challenging, what would they do differently, and so on. It also provides us teachers with a further insight to their knowledge and level of understanding. Now, although there may be concern in regards to time constraints and differentiation, especially for our EAL students, assessment in the form of anecdotal notes on discussions and practical lessons, for example, as well as work samples throughout the unit will allow us to identify each student's needs and adjust our teaching accordingly. I believe with the resources suggested and the variety of learning opportunities we can provide can consistently cater to the learning needs of all students across the cohort to develop these literacy capabilities and our operational, cultural and critical goals. Thank you very much.